Wow, I had a really good stat on Grand Blue Rising last night. I'm having a lot of fun with fighting games. I'm just gonna tweet something real quick and then go to work. I wonder if... Hey guys, I'm ABI. I'm the guy who wrote this tweet. And for the last 2 weeks, I watched it erupt into the current discourse we now have about neutral skips in fighting games. And seeing as how the tweet has been yanked out of context and paraded around like some kind of clown show, I'd like to speak up about it and clarify a few things. Because 180 characters is not long enough, and the nature of Twitter is to single out even the most neutral of takes and make an argument out of it. But first of all, what exactly am I being clowned on for? I've seen this tweet dragged in every possible direction, and I am getting mixed up harder than fighting Seth and Undernight. I've had people call me a delusional boomer who pines for an age of honest footsies that never existed, and I've had people call me a brainless gorilla who hates neutral. And getting retweeted by much bigger FGC Twitters just to clown on me some more makes it really hard to do damage control and actually clear up what I meant by all this, and that's why I'm making this video. Let's start with the biggest point of contention. What did I mean by Most people have interpreted me as having claimed that every old fighting game is the age of footsies, but obviously that's not true. What I actually meant was most popular fighting games between the years 2015 and 2020. Early Street Fighter V, Mortal Kombat 11, Vanilla Grand Blue Versus, Samurai Showdown, early Guilty Gear Strive, and to some extent Tekken 7. And I know some of you are about to call me crazy. Some of you already have. But the Street Fighter V and Guilty Gear Strive we have today are not the same game as when they started. The pattern often goes that fighting games in that era began as footsie fighters because people hadn't yet hit the skill ceiling. But as players began to master the mechanics and evolve, the game literally evolved around them. Characters got more and more complex with each DLC season, and if the game lives long enough, you might even see a title update or a post-launch system change. There was a time before G and Kage and Akuma, a time before Happy Chaos and Johnny, where the most feared moves in the game were Lara standing middle kick and Soulfar standing slash, and you will never be able to experience it again. Do you remember the open betas of Street Fighter V? Do you remember how much cool, fun tech people discovered, and how upset they were to find that they were removed in the next beta? Do you remember everyone being upset at Guilty Gear Strive for nerfing air dashes and for character movesets getting gutted because they were forced to play neutral-based footsies and zoning? This isn't even my own opinion. This is something I stole from what other FGC people were saying at the time. I will also readily admit I have a tendency to get overly flowery with the way I describe things. Age of Footsies and Age of Unga are perhaps a little too poetic for what I was actually describing, but goddammit, I only have 180 characters to work with. And yes, I know other fighting games existed around this time. I know about Dragon Ball FighterZ. I know about BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, Marvel Infinite, King of Fighters 14 and 15, Battle for the Grid, DNF Duel, Them's Fighting Herds, Skullgirls somehow still being alive. I know about all this. Which actually brings me to my next point. A whole bunch of people had a lot of Vega flip footage to post at me like it was the goddamn Spanish circus. And yes, I get it. ST Vega has a neutral skip. Old fighting games had neutral skips. But the existence of one or a few characters with neutral skips does not erase the existence of neutral from a fighting game. This is what's called fallacy of composition. ST Vega can skip neutral, thus neutral does not exist. And you can pick ST Vega and start flipping around and having a grand old time, but I bet you'll start respecting neutral once you see this. Posting a clip of Yun popping Grenadian at round start doesn't mean Third Strike isn't a footsie game. You know this thing that everyone loves? The single most famous fighting game clip of all time? This is a footsie moment. I only bring this up because it relates back to what I wanted to highlight about my original tweet. When I bring up stuff like Drive Rush, Wild Assault, Raging Chain, aggression mechanics, as I called them, it's important to note that these are universal mechanics. This means that fighting game design is moving in a direction where these kinds of tools, mechanics that immediately allow a player to initiate offense and just start pressing buttons, are now available to everyone, not just ST Vega. Everyone got your Vega clips out of your system? Okay, good. Let's move on. So do you want to know the true meaning behind that tweet? The real hidden message layered beneath all this discourse and debate? Here it is. Boy, aggression mechanics sure are fun. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. I am having fun with the current direction of fighting games, and I think it is interesting that similar design patterns are emerging. That is it. That is all. I can't even leave a compliment without people trying to start a fight. It's literally that "so you hate waffles" tweet to a nuclear scale. And there's a part 2 to this. Are you ready for it? Everyone who made discourse out of this, everyone who retweeted this out of context and dropped your hot take about neutral skips, everyone who made a video about this or talked about it on stream, you are all correct. Congratulations, you have all won an argument to a fight I never intended to start. I hope you all got some good engagement out of the gotcha moment you've created out of me. And I am positive that this very video is going to get picked apart and dragged and analyzed to death by people who want to start another fight, so go right ahead. My only response to you from this point onwards is, I like the new mechanics. So, cheers to everyone who drive rushed past the context, wild assaulted past the replies, and flying Barcelona'd straight to the retweet button to make content out of this tomfoolery. You are the true neutral skip. Hey guys, this is post-production ABI. I got sick after recording, so this is probably going to sound scuffed. Anyway, I probably sounded really bitter by the end there, but I'm actually not, and I'm pretty glad overall that this entire conversation took off, even if I had to become a villain for it. There are some videos that came up as a result that are actually pretty interesting. Shoutouts to Justin Wong for his video on the topic. Justin posits that fighting games in their infancy favor defensive, neutral-based tactics because the collective skill level of the player base has not yet figured out the neutral skip. Only over time does a game's tactics shift to wilder, more aggressive play, and evidently, the identity of the game changes with it. It's difficult for me to make statements like this because I'm largely an observer to the greater history of fighting games, so it's actually really cool to have this theory corroborated by a world-famous veteran like Justin with years of experience in many different games over the years. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you check out Justin's video after this one. Anyway, I'm gonna take some NyQuil and then pass out. See you guys later.